There will now be an opportunity for silent prayer or meditation. You may be seated. Honorable members, does any member wish to give a notice of a motion? Honorable van Lingen, followed by Kaula, Honorable Smith, Lamini, Fava. Oh. Okay. Maybe just as you start, may I just indicate to the House that you should be aware by now that the rules of the House allows 20 minutes for motions, both of them. So I will try my best to stick within that time. Honorable van Lingen.
Thank you, Honourable Chairperson. On behalf of the Democratic Alliance, I wish to give notice of a motion that at the next sitting of Council, it debates the financial sustainability and viability of local municipalities, and that this House adopts a resolution on the stage of administrative failure and of the respective local municipality before invoking a Section 139 intervention. I so move.
Thank you very much. Honorable Kaula.
Thank you, Honorable Deputy Chairperson. On behalf of the Inkatha Freedom Party, I shall move that the next sitting council debates the role of the position of Deputy Chairperson of the NCOP. Of late, NCOP has experienced a flight of postponements and or withdrawals of items based on the non-availability of the NCOP Chairperson whilst NCOP Deputy Chairperson was around. Rule 10, subsection 1 of the NCOP rules states that the Deputy Chairperson performs the functions of Chairperson in the absence of the Chairperson. However, the position has of late been reduced to running non-effective errands. I so move.
Thank you, Honourable Deputy Chairperson. On behalf of the Democratic Alliance, I wish to move a motion, a notice of a motion, that this House debates the current confusion that exists regarding the cross-cutting responsibilities for maintaining South African roads. I so move.
Thank you very much, Honorable Faber.
Thank you, Honourable Chair. On behalf of the Democratic Alliance, I hereby wish to move a notice of a motion that this House debate. Today, Passenger Rail Agency of SA, PRASA, Board Chairperson Popo Molefe briefed media in Pretoria on the outcomes of the Public Protector Tudi Manonzela's report on the alleged mail administration at the agency. The report detailed 32 complaints against PRASA, most of them involving mail administration relating to tenders totaling 2.8 billion. 19 of these were sustained. Ex-PRASA CEO Lucky Montana was also widely implicated in this report. Molefe reported that the Public Protector's report is a concern to the board and of public interest and compelled to take measures against irregularities. PRASA's Popo Molefe now believes his life is in danger. It relates to the tender probes. We believe if you can't take the heat, please get out of the kitchen. The sooner a DA government takes over, the better. Before there's nothing to save to this beloved country of ours. I so move.
Honorable Matlashupi.
Thanks, Honorable Chairperson. On behalf of the African National Congress, I hereby give notice that in the next sitting of the Council, I shall move that the Council notes the arrest of 13 learners for the possession of dagga and dangerous weapons such as knives in schools in Limpopo, and the arrest of 6 members belonging to the Dickies Lovers and Dogs for Money gangs, who are mostly learners, and moves that the Council debates the proliferation of gangs in schools in South Africa, who in most cases are at the center of the peddling of drugs and violence in our schools, and the need to look at developing a multidisciplinary gangs and drugs operational plan for schools to curb the proliferation of gang violence in our schools. I so move.
Thank you very much. Honorable Mpangwa Sibukwane.
Thank you, Deputy Chairperson. On behalf of the Democratic Alliance, I hereby wish to move a notice of motion that the Council takes note that the wastage of water in the Eastern Cape in 3 municipalities, namely Nelson Mandela Bay Metropolitan, the King Sabata Dalindyebo Local, and the Buffalo City Metropolitan. I so move. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Honorable Prince.
I hereby give notice that in the next sitting of the council, I shall move that the council notes the arrest of 4 people of possession and distribution of child pornography and Hercules in Pretoria and in Fieshoek in Cape Town. Further notes that the arrest followed an investigation by specialized detectives from the Family Violence, Child Protection and Sexual Offences Unit from Gauteng, as well as police in Antwerp in Belgium, and moves that in the next sitting of the council, the House debates the proliferation of child pornography in South Africa and its impact in our communities. I so move. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Honorable Nita.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. On behalf of the African National Congress, I hereby move without notice that the Council notes and congratulates Durban, SASCOC, and South Africa as a nation on winning the bid for the 2020 Commonwealth Games. Also note that the announcement was made in Auckland, New Zealand, and on Wednesday, 1st September 2015. Further note that it will be the first time that the Commonwealth Games to be held in South African soil, South Africa in particular, and that it will benefit not only South Africans, but also Africa at large. And notes that South Africa have successfully hosted the 3 biggest single sports events, the Cricket, Rugby Union, and Football World Cup, and therefore South Africa can put on a show that will do the Commonwealth Games very proud. We pride ourselves to the hard work done by all parties involved in the bid, more especially that the Games will start on the birthday of our icon, Tata President Nelson Mandela, and terminate at the end of his birthday, the 18th, 30 July 2022. Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you very much, honorable members. Now we shall come to the motions without notices. Honorable Mikalakis. Honorable Mikalakis, you can continue.
Thank you, Honourable Deputy Chairperson. Honourable Deputy Chairperson, I hereby move on behalf of the Democratic Alliance that this House notes with great sadness the passing of our friend, brother and Shadow Minister for Public Works, Kenneth Mubu, Member of Parliament. Further notes that before joining the DA Parliamentary Caucus, Honourable Mubu served as the Director for Africa at the International Relations and Partnerships Directorate at the University of Pretoria. Acknowledges that Honourable Mubu was born in Lusaka, Zambia, holds a BA in Education from the University of Zambia, an MA in Journalism and Public Relations from Ball State University, a postgraduate diploma in Management from Leicester University, as well as a certificate in Public Relations Management from the Public Relations Institute of South Africa. That Honourable Mubu's contribution to building South Africa's constitutional democracy through the various roles he held in his lifetime, and the DA's presence in the Greater Pretoria region will never be forgotten and will be built upon by generations to come. And finally, that Council sends its condolences to his family, especially his wife, Nombulelo, and children, Kenneth Jr. and Tari. I so move.
Thank you very much. Is there any objection to the motion? Therefore, the motion is agreed to in terms of Section 65 of the Constitution. Honorable Makue.
Honorable Deputy Chair, I hereby move without notice that the Council notes and welcome that President Jacob Zuma officially opened one of 6 generating units at Medupi Power Station in Lepalale, Limpopo last Sunday. Also notes that this power station has officially brought on Unit 6 commercially, which will add 800 megawatts to the country's strained electricity grid. Further notes that when complete in 2019, Medupi will add 4,764 megawatts to Eskom's grid and will bring its total capacity from its current 41,194 megawatts to 45,958 megawatts. And that the unveiling of Unit 6 shows that there is light at the end of the tunnel. At a time of increased energy scarcity for South Africa, we welcome the addition of this new generation capacity that is so critical to growing our economy. I so move.
Thank you very much. Is there any objection to the motion? The motion is therefore agreed to in terms of Section 65 of the Constitution. Honorable Chetty, sorry.
Thank you, Honorable Deputy Chair. On behalf of the Democratic Alliance, I hereby move the following motion without notice that this House condemns the Mzanyathi District Mayor, Councillor James Ntwetwe, who made statements which were derogatory and amounted to hate speech against the homosexual LGBTI community at the launch of the Mzanyathi Community Health World Training Project at Dundee last week. His assertion to blame gay people for spreading HIV and AIDS and must be stopped as in conflict with human rights as held in the Bill of Rights of the Constitution. An elected leader should not make assertions that promote violence towards any person, are factually incorrect, and breed hatred towards the LGBTI persons. This House notes that the municipality, writing on his behalf, said, Councillor Ntwetwe wished to apologize and retract all statements to those who were offended directly or indirectly, that this is an inadequate apology, and that this House demands that Councillor Ntwetwe publicly withdraws these statements. I so move.
Is there any objection to the motion? In the light of an objection, therefore, the motion shall read as a notice. Honorable Timunye.
Honorable Deputy Chair, I hereby move without notice that Council notes the disgust that a Camperdown father has been shot and killed while his wife and 2 sons watched in horror in the early hours of Tuesday morning in Durban. Further notes that this happened when 7 guys stormed into the house, ransacked it, holding the family at gunpoint, and then allegedly shot and killed a 50-year-old man and fled with their two cell phones. Therefore, wish to condemn with the strongest of terms this incident and call on the law enforcement authorities to leave no stone unturned and let those guys face the full might of the law. And our deepest condolences and sympathy goes to the family during this time of trauma and pain. I so move.
Is there any objection to the motion? Therefore, the motion is agreed to in terms of Section 65 of the Constitution. Honorable Mampuru.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. On behalf of the NC, I hereby move without notice that the Council, 1, knows with sadness that Mr. Ronald Mugwebu Babum Kize has passed on at 74 years on Friday, 28 August 2015. 2, further knows that Babum Kize, as known from Mzinwezin Sizwa, died at a Queen Hospital after a long illness. 3, also knows that he has been an entertainer and a darling of the nation. His passing on has left a void in both the entertainment industry and to many homes. 4, our deepest condolences to his family and friends. May his soul rest in peace. I so move.
Is there any objection to the motion? Therefore, the motion is agreed to in terms of Section 65 of the Constitution. Honorable Letlamin.
Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy Chair. On behalf of the mighty organization, the African National Congress, I hereby move without notice that the Council notes that with profound sadness, the brutal killing of a student from Model High School in Mitchell's Plain. Further notes that the student was robbed of his cell phone and school bag before he was stabbed to death. Further notes that a study by Center for Justice and Crime Prevention has revealed that about 27% of young people in South Africa fall victims to crime or violence on a daily basis, and that 47% of crime victimization against young people in South Africa happens at school or closer to school premises, and moves that in the next sitting of council, the council debates crime against learners in South Africa and mechanisms to protect them from ruthless and heartless criminals who continue to prey on them as soft targets.
Then, is there any objection to the motion? Therefore, the motion is agreed to in terms of Section 65 of the Constitution. I've got Honorable Mbambo Sibugwa. You're covered, okay. That was the last name I had on my list of members. Therefore, that brings us then to the end of motions. Secretary will read the first order of the day.
Consideration of report of Select Committee on Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs, notice of intervention issued in terms of Section 1391B of the Constitution of 1996 in Makana Local Municipality.
Honorable Mahab, can you introduce the
Thank you very much, Chairperson. The Chief Whip, honorable members. Chairperson, this is the report presented before the NCOP, a report that was discussed by the Select Committee. On the 10th of September 2014, the Provincial Executive Council of the Eastern Cape Province resolved to invoke Section 139, subsection 1B of the Constitution in Makana Local Municipality in response to a request dated the 28th of August 2014 by the municipality to the MEC for Local Government and Traditional Affairs. An administrator was then appointed on contract for a period of 6 months, subject to review, with effect from the 6th of October 2014 to assume responsibility, perform duties and obligations disregarded, some of which included financial challenges facing the municipality and which resulted in the collapse of basic service delivery, leaving residents without water for weeks. The provisions of Section 139, subsection 2A, Roman alphabet 2 of the Constitution were not fully complied with by the Provincial Executive Council, in that the NCOP only received the written notice of intervention on the 22nd of October 2014, which is 18 days far above from the 14 days prescribed by the Constitution. As a consequence, the Select Committee was unable to come to a determination based on the procedural defects from the side of the PC. It was therefore resolved by the NCOP that the MEC for Local Government and Traditional Affairs in the Eastern Cape should urgently embark on measures to regularize the intervention as in accordance with the legislative prescripts. Chairperson, in terms of the current intervention, the decision to intervene was taken on the 17th of March 2015, and the NCOP was informed on the 19th of March 2015, 2 days after the decision was taken, in order to comply with the requirements as set out in terms of Section 139, subsection 2A, Roman alphabet 2 of the Constitution. The municipality is specifically challenged in the following areas: infrastructure, reflecting on water and electricity, poor infrastructure operations and management, dilapidated roads, housing backlogs, and poor waste management. Under governance, there's issues of compliance challenges, lack of political oversight, non-effective performance management, allegation of corruption, nepotism, and lack of compliance with the prescripts of the law. Service delivery and budget implementation plan had not been adopted and aligned, and the community protest. Institutional challenges, skills and capacity gaps, dysfunctional local labor forum, council committees and management structures reportedly not meeting regularly and often shifted, and poor public participation. Under financial challenges, the municipality is not able to meet its current and statutory obligations, and expenditure far exceeds revenue collected, resulting in rising levels of unpaid creditors, high expenditure levels on paid overtime, litigation of creditors, and declining audit outcomes. The municipality has had multiple disclaimers from the Auditor General, inadequate internal controls and non-adherence to policies and procedures, over-reliance of grant funding, inadequate system and processes, poor and weak supply chain and contract management. Chairperson, the terms of reference of the administrator were the following: assuming executive obligation for infrastructure, corporate services and finance, implementation of the previous administrator's recommendations, implementation of financial recovery plan, and facilitation on the appointment of the CFO, the technical director, and the municipal manager. Progress to date, Chairperson. In terms of revenue collection, a debt collection, RevCo service provider was appointed to assist with revenue collection, and this yielded increase in revenue collection from an average of 66% to 83% currently. PricewaterhouseCoopers, funded by the Provincial Department of Cocta, was appointed to assist with further revenue enhancement strategies, and a revenue strategy was subsequently approved and is being implemented. In improving the supply chain management in the municipality, the senior manager was seconded by the province from the Department of Cocta. The following creditors, ESCOM, Auditor General, and AROCON, were engaged, and the payment plans were arranged with the municipality. These creditors were at the litigation stage. The Provincial Department of Cocta has made available an amount of 26 million to assist resolving creditors' issues. Of this amount, 18.9 million was used to pay the ESCOM debt. The post of the manager legal was filled on the 1st of July 2015, and this increased the municipality's capacity to handle issues of litigation. In many instances, the municipality did not defend itself despite the delivery of summons to the relevant official. The manager HR was appointed in May 2015, and the Provincial Department of Cocta has also seconded a senior official in July 2015. Work on accelerating recruitment processes, HR policies, development of employment equity plan, and ensuring compliance with prescripts has commenced. Engagement with the LLF for the strengthening of the bargaining environment is still a challenge in this municipality, as its meetings were often postponed. Chairperson, the Select Committee, during its deliberations, they have observed the following one. It has been observed that the MEC for Local Government and Traditional Affairs has regularized the intervention and complied accordingly with all the legislative precepts as recommended by the NCOP. Notwithstanding the measures taken to regularize the intervention in this municipality, compliance with the financial management system and processes is still a challenge. For the past 4 years, the municipality has annually received a disclaimer of audit opinions. This was also exacerbated by critical skill shortages, especially at the management level. The view of the Select Committee is that poor financial management, lack of adequate controls, and accountability systems impact negatively on service delivery processes. Chair, there have been claims by organized labor that nepotism and favoritism resulted in irregular appointments and promotions in the municipality. Cases have been cited where posts are filled without being advertised. The Select Committee wishes to point out that the appropriate recruitment and selection processes should be considered consistently used. Section 66, subsection 3 of the Systems Act provides that no person may be employed in a municipality unless the post to which he or she is appointed is provided for in the staff establishment of the municipality as approved by the council. Chair, the recommendations from the side of the municipality. Considering the challenges and progress made in Makana Local Municipality, the Select Committee recommends the following. 1, the NCOP approves the intervention in Makana Local Municipality in terms of Section 139, subsection 1B of the Constitution. 2, that the administrator should fast-track the process of appointing skills personnel in order to facilitate the transfer of skills and ensure continuity and stability in the municipality. 3, the administrator should resuscitate and encourage public participation in the municipal decision-making processes. Lastly, that the Eastern Cape MEC for Local Government and Traditional Affairs should table quarterly progress report to NCOP and the provincial legislature on the status of intervention in the municipality, including the termination of intervention report. I so move that the report be adopted by the NCOP. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. That concludes the debate. I shall now put the question, and the question is that the report be agreed to. In accordance with Rule 71, I shall first allow provinces the opportunity to make their declaration of vote if they so wish. Is there any province that wishes to make a declaration? Western Cape.
Considering the proposed intervention for Mokana Municipality by invoking Section 139 of the Constitution, the Western Cape would like to record the following declaration. The DA has continuously highlighted the plight and critical situation of the people of Mokana and called for the intervention of Mokana Municipality to the attention of the provincial MEC, the Minister of COCTA, and the NCOP. This municipality is plagued with irregular appointments and incompetent cadre deployees. This includes the appointment of former Administrator Pam Yaku at an exorbitant salary, the appointment of the new administrator shrouded in controversy, and the mayor's election, which was not in compliance with the Municipal Structures Act, with both these appointments being challenged legally. The recent reshuffling of the political leadership at Makana is further evident that drastic action steps need to be taken to rectify the current chaos that is taking place in this municipality. Makana's last 4 audit reports from the AG were disclaimed, indicating the accounts do not contain sufficient information to form an opinion on the municipality's financial viability. The highly secretive Kabusu report that the Select Committee on COCTA requested to be made public still has not, nor has been submitted to the House. In Makana, we have only seen political instability that has led to administrative collapse, rendering little or no service delivery. Interventions are a serious issue, and it demands full-time supervision and oversight of the daily running of a municipality, for which the provincial MEC must take full responsibility for. We request that the Minister give serious consideration to take drastic action against those responsible for the continued collapse of Makana and dissolve the municipality with reference to Section 1391C. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Eastern Cape.
Thank you, Deputy Chairperson. The province is acting to address the situation of the Makana municipalities. The MEC has appointed, in fact, seconded an administrator to address the challenges facing the municipality of Makana. Already, governance structures have been put in place in the municipality. A recovery plan, financial recovery plan is in place to address some of the points that are raised as a recommendation by the report. And also what the municipality is doing now is already addressing issues of the vacancies, particularly critical posts in the municipalities are being filled. And also in line with the back to basic framework, the municipality has conducted a diagnosis of the municipality in line with that back to basic framework. And also a project plan has been developed to address issues that are highlighted in the back to basic framework. So various strategies are being implemented or developed. Particularly the local economic development strategy is being developed, assisted by the Eastern Cape Socio-Economic Consultative Council, as well as the Rhodes University. But it is also worth noting that the province has also made changes with regard to the political leadership, and that there is now
Honourable Member, your time has expired.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. KwaZulu-Natal.
Thank you, Deputy Chairperson. We note with comfort the initiative took by the political leadership of the municipality as reported that they put forth a request for an intervention by the government when in their view things, they needed support and they needed the intervention. And we think that that's good leadership when you realize that there's mistakes and there's errors and there's problems that you seek for assistance. And therefore, Chair, we note that there's interventions and the running of municipalities cannot just be made a political expedience call as made by the Western Cape. And that the full responsibility lies with those who lead at that local level. And we further note that the intervention, Chair, in many other municipalities is indicating a positive progress. When there has been an intervention, the municipality is set firm on a path of growth and of better managing the affairs of the local people, and indeed the better commitment by the leadership in in good governance. And that is seen, Chair, through the Auditor General's report.
Honourable Member, unfortunately your time has expired.
We thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you very much. We shall now proceed to the voting, and we shall do that in an alphabetical order. Eastern Cape?
Eastern Cape support, Chair.
Free State?
CI Xhosa.
Gauteng?
Gauteng supports.
KwaZulu-Natal?
KwaZulu-Natal support Umbiko Sihla.
Limpopo?
Limpopo re a dumela modulasetulo.
Mpumalanga?
Mpumalanga agrees to the recommendation of the Select Committee, Chair.
Northern Cape?
Northern Cape support, Chairperson.
Northwest?
Northwest agrees.
Western Cape?
Western Cape is against it.
Western Cape?
We wanted section C. No, we're against the B. Thank you.
Okay, 8 provinces voted in favor, therefore the majority of provinces voted in favor. I therefore declare the report as agreed to in terms of section 65 of the Constitution. The Secretary will read the second order out of the day.
Consideration of report of Select Committee on Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs, notice of intervention issued in terms of section 1391B of the Constitution 1996 in Ventersdorp Local Municipality.
Honorable Mohapi.
Thank you very much, Deputy Chair. Chairperson, may I place on record as a Select Committee, we strongly believe that the measure of intervention should not be punitive, but must ensure that we restore the stability in the municipality. Chairperson, the Northwest Provincial Executive Council resolved in its meeting on the 29th of April 2015 to intervene in Ventersdorp Local Municipality in terms of Section 139, subsection 1B of the Constitution. The reasons for placing the municipality under administration is as a result of the failure of the council to provide leadership and exercise oversight, not taking ownership, nor acting on the irregularities in the administration of the municipality, and also lack of public participation. The municipality is in a serious financial distress, a situation which contributes to poor delivery of services. There's been a number of service delivery protests by the communities for the past 10 years as a result of lack of proper services rendered. The municipality also faces high service delivery backlogs, non-operations and maintenance of existing infrastructure, lack of technical capacity to plan, implement and monitor projects, increasing illegal connections, poor financial management, inability to service bulk services accounts, low revenue collection, lack of enforcement of credit control and debt collection policies, as well as outdated policies. The provincial government has put several interventions and support programs in the municipality in terms of Section 154, subsection 1 of the Constitution. Chair, in terms of the terms of reference of the administrator, the following has been identified. 1, to improve service delivery in Ventersdorp, prioritizing water and sanitation services, which will include facilitation of new projects, unblocking old projects, maintenance of infrastructure and cleaning. Stabilize and improve administration within the municipality, improve financial controls, expenditure management, procurement processes in respect to MFMA compliance. Analysis and implementation of the past and current investigations and commissions of inquiry and forensic audits, including taking decisive actions against implicated individuals, attending to labor matters and conclude the disciplinary cases of the previously reinstated managers. Investigate all recently awarded contracts to establish validity and legitimacy thereof, and take action on transgressions and contraventions in terms of the applicable legislation and regulations. Chair, in terms of the achievements since the inception of the intervention, in respect of water and sanitation, leaking pipes and the sewer blockages are done by internal staff with the intention to reduce the usage of service providers. The development of maintenance plans, water service development plans were an issue. As a result, the municipality has engaged the DBSA and MISA for assistance. In terms of cleansing and waste collection, the situation has improved. The ward committees have been resuscitated and Section 79 committees are now functional. NCOP has been paid 60 million from June to July. However, in terms of the agreement, this has been honored. A policy of an unauthorized, irregular, fruitless, and wasteful expenditure has been developed, and it will assist MPEC in attending such cases. The top 30 businesses that owe the municipality for a period exceeding 30 days in the debtor's age analysis as of May 2015 were engaged in order to make the required arrangement in terms of the credit control. A meeting was held with SAMU and IMATU in order to revive the local labor forum. The committee, or the select committee, in its deliberation, it has observed that the municipality has no credible and functional indigent register in respect of providing basic municipal services for the poor. It should be remembered that Section 152 of the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa provides a legal basis for the provision of free basic services. An observation was made on the non-functionality of ward committees in Featherstop. However, it should be pointed out that ward committees are a key institutional mechanism intended to contribute towards bringing about a people-centered, participatory, and democratic system for local governance. The rationale of ward committees is to supplement the role of elected councillors by establishing a link between communities' political and administrative structures of municipality. There's a low revenue collection in the municipality, a situation which makes it more difficult for the spending pattern of the municipality. Good governance is equally critical in this regard. In terms of the recommendation of the committee, the following are the recommendations. One, that the NCOP approves the intervention in vendors of local municipality as issued by Northwest Provincial Executive Council in terms of Section 139, subsection 1B of the Constitution. Two, the administrator should verify and update the municipal's indigent register in order to ensure that the provision of basic services to the community is provided in a sustainable manner within the financial and administrative capacity of the municipality. The administrator should submit a report to the NCOP on how many ward committees are functional, indicating the number of meetings that have been held and scheduled for the current municipal financial year. The Northwest MEC of Local Government and Human Settlement should table quarterly progress report to the NCOP and the provincial legislation on the status of intervention, including the termination of the intervention report. The Select Committee also recommends that the MEC for Local Government and Human Settlement should ensure continuous interaction and engagement with the South African Local Government Association in their province. The Select Committee further takes note of the outcome of the Municipal Demarcation Board around amalgamation of Tlokwe and Ventersdorp local municipality. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. That concludes the debate. I shall now put the question, and the question is that the report be agreed to. In terms of Rule 71, I shall first allow provinces an opportunity to make their declaration of vote if they so wish. Is there any province that wishes to make a declaration of vote? Oh, I thought you were raising your hand. Okay, in the absence of any province, we shall then proceed with the voting in an alphabetical order. Eastern Cape?
Eastern Cape support the recommendation.
Free State?
Say support as well.
Gauteng?
Gauteng supports.
KwaZulu Natal?
KwaZulu Natal yamukele report Deputy Speaker.
Popo? Mpumalanga?
Mpumalanga agrees, Chair.
Northern Cape?
Northern Cape support.
Northwest?
Northwest agrees.
Western Cape?
Western Cape support.
All 9 provinces voted in favor. I therefore declare the bill, the report is agreed to in terms of Section 65 of the Constitution. The Secretary will then read the third order of the day.
Consideration of report of Select Committee on Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs, notice of intervention issued in terms of Section 1391B of the Constitution of 1996 in Tswayin local municipality.
Honorable Moape.
Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy Chair. Chairperson, in terms of the report has been tabled before the Select Committee of COCTA. The first intervention in Tswayin local municipality was invoked in 2010 in terms of Section 139, subsection 1B of the Constitution. The main issues identified by the Provincial Executive Council for intervening in the affairs of the municipality are related to the poor management of the municipality, poor water and sanitation provisions, and standard of internal road infrastructure, and even provision of services to the communities, and project delays owing to prolonged procurement processes, fraud, and corruption. Mr. Tiromose was then consequently deployed to Tswayin local municipality as an administrator for a period of 6 months. A comprehensive assessment of the municipality by the Department of Local Government and Human Settlement in the Northwest Province identified Tswayin as one of the troubled municipalities. In its recommendation, the then NCOP approved the intervention as contemplated by the Northwest Provincial Executive Council in terms of Section 139, subsection 1B of the Constitution. Chairperson, the current intervention in its meeting on the 29th of April 2015, the Executive Council resolved to invoke Section 139, subsection 1B of the Constitution to the municipality as a measure meant to address the governance and administrative problems. The reasons for placing the municipality under administration includes the following. One, most of the services are not adequately provided due to lack of resources, staff shortages, institutional misalignment, lack of proper equipment, poor maintenance of services, aging infrastructure, poor cost recovery and credit control. The Council has not provided proper oversight and leadership to the municipal administration. Allegations of fraud and nepotism leveled against the municipality by members of the community, including councillors in that municipality. As a result of the municipality having overgraded itself, councillors have been overpaid. The Municipal Public Accounts Committee is unable to exercise oversight of the municipality due to lack of administrative support from the municipal manager and political support from the council. The state of delivery of services to the community is poor, and the municipality is not doing enough to collect and raise its revenue generative capacity in order to fund service delivery project and reduce dependency on grants. Chair, in terms of the terms of reference of the administrator, one, improvement of service delivery in Tswai, stabilizing and improvement of administrative capacity, improvement of financial controls in the municipality, analysis and implementation of the past and current investigations, commissions of inquiry and forensic audits, resolutions of labor and outstanding disciplinary cases, improvement of the government function within the municipality, especially the role of the council and its relations with administration, investigate all recent awarded contracts to establish validity and legitimacy thereof, and terminate those that are not legitimate in terms of the applicable regulations. Investigate and take appropriate action on any transgressions and contraventions to applicable legislations and regulations. Progress achieved to date. Since the arrival of the administration team has engaged the National Treasury regarding the outstanding local government equitable share of 12.3 million, which was paid to the municipality within a week. Importantly, ESCOM was paid an amount of 7.4 million for bulk accounts and 980,000 was paid to small accounts, as per the payment agreement that was made in March 2015. Further, in an effort to improve revenue collection, the municipality has appointed a service provider to replace old meters with new prepaid meters. The National Treasury has intervened in the situation of the unfunded mandate between the municipality and the Ngakamodiri Mulema district. The district owes the municipality 90 million for water services rendered by Tswai on its behalf. The LLF has been resuscitated in terms of its functionality, and more than 4 meetings have been held to date. Chairperson, in terms of the remaining challenges, despite the progress that has been observed in the municipality, there are still challenges remaining, especially in the following. In the technical and engineering services, there's a need to address the aging electricity infrastructure, as well as timely completion of the capital project. In the finance section, there's a lack of skilled personnel, as well as poor financial management that is resulting in poor audit outcomes. There's a land invasion in Tswai local municipality. The Select Committee, during its deliberation and opinions, they observed the following. Our view with regard to the payment of ESCOM is an important step in taking the municipality forward. The main reason why the National Treasury has been withholding the equitable share allocation for the municipality was due to its failure to honor its financial commitment to pay ESCOM in line with Section 65, subsection 2 of the MFMA. Although the decision to withhold the equitable share of the municipality affected the municipal's ability to meet some of its financial obligations, however, financial mismanagement cannot be condoned under any circumstances. The Select Committee applauds the action taken that those who were illegally appointed in the municipality, including the referral of criminal cases to South African Police Services. An effective and efficient local government can easily be undermined by poor ethics and corruption. Chair, through the interaction of the Select Committee with different stakeholders in Tswai, it was observed that the municipality was not communicating and engaging sufficiently with the public. Even the ward committees were dysfunctional. The biggest idea contained in the notion of developmental local government is that of public participation in the municipal decision-making process. Legislation flowing from the 1998 local government white paper requires municipalities to ensure participation in a wide range of planning and decision-making processes and to create a number of participation mechanisms such as ward committees. The Select Committee noted the concerns raised by ward committee members in respect of reimbursement of out-of-pocket expenses by the municipality. The National Youth Policy acknowledged the role of local government in youth development by encouraging local government to design mechanisms for the creation of youth development programs, as well as identifying the needs and development opportunities of the youth. Equally, there's a need for the establishment of the Women's Desk in the municipality. The Select Committee therefore recommends the following to the NCOP. One, that the NCOP approve the intervention in Tswai local municipality in terms of Section 139, subsection 1B of the Constitution. Two, that the administrator should fast-track the processes of appointing skills personnel in order to facilitate the transfer of skills and ensure continuity and stability in the municipality. And administrator, three, should resuscitate and provide public participation mechanism in the municipal decision-making processes. Four, the National Treasury, together with the Northwest Department of Local Government and Human Settlement, should assist the municipality in recovering the outstanding money owed to it by Mulema District Municipality for services provided on their behalf. The MEC for Local Government and Human Settlement should ensure continuous interaction and engagement with the South African Local Government Association in the province. National and Provincial Department of Local Government and Human Settlement should continuously provide Section 154 Subsection 1 support to the municipality, which should be a collaborative nature between the spheres of government. Lastly, that the Northwest MEC for Local Government and Human Settlement should table quarterly progress report to the NCOP and the provincial legislature on the status of intervention in the municipality, including the termination report. Thank you very much, Chairperson.
Thank you very much. That concludes the debate. I shall then put the question, and the question is that the report be agreed to. But before we proceed, I shall then, in accordance with Rule 71, allow provinces an opportunity to make their declaration of vote if they so wish. Is there any province that wishes? In the absence of any province, we shall then proceed with the voting. Eastern Cape?
Eastern Cape supports.
Free State? Gauteng?
Gauteng supports.
KwaZulu-Natal?
KwaZulu-Natal sekela.
Limpopo? Mpumalanga?
Siyavuma sihlala eMpumalanga.
Northern Cape?
Northern Cape support.
Northwest?
Province ya Bokoni Bophirima ya dumela.
Western Cape?
Western Cape support.
All 9 provinces voted in favor, therefore I declare the report as agreed to in terms of Section 65 of the Constitution. The Secretary will read the 4th order of the day.
Consideration of Refugees Amendment Bill B19/2015 and report of Select Committee on Social Services thereon.
Honorable Dlamini.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair, honorable members, my greetings. Just want to indicate that this report was tabled to the committee and it was agreed to by all members. Home Affairs plays a decisive role as a backbone of the developmental state and is central to enabling security services and security and service delivery. It plays a crucial role in enabling all South Africans to proudly claim their citizenships, their identity and dignity. Noting the Freedom Charter, South Africa belongs to all who live in it. Thus, the importance of ensuring that all national groups being protected by the law. The purpose of the bill was to amend the Refugees Act 1998, number 130 of 1998, so as to confer a discretion upon the Refugees Appeals Authority to allow the public and the media access to its proceedings in appropriate cases. On the 27th of September 2013, the Constitutional Court in the Mail and Guardian Media Limited and others versus MJ Chipu and others, the Chipu case, declared Section 21.5 of the Refugees Act 1998 inconsistent with the freedom of expression rights enshrined in Section 16 of the Constitution, particularly Section 16(1)(a). Section 1A, freedom of the press, and Section 1B, freedom to receive or impart information or ideas to the extent that it precludes members of the public or media from attending proceedings of Refugees Appeal Board in all cases, and fails to confer a discretion upon the Refugees
Appeal Board to allow the public and media access to its proceedings in an appropriate case. The declaration of invalidity was suspended for a period of 2 years from the date of the order to enable Parliament to correct the constitutional defect in Section 21(5) of the Refugees Act 1998, pending the correction of the defect or the expiry of the 2-year period, whichever occurs first. The Constitutional Court provided a temporary reading in order to Section 21(5) of the Refugees Act 1998, conferring a discretion on the Refugees Appeal Board on application on condition it deems fit to allow any person to attend or report on its hearings. The 2-year period ends on the 26th of September 2015. This bill is addressing that judgment by amending Section 21(5) of the Refugees Act 1998 so as to confer the discretion of the Refugees Appeal Authority on application and condition it deems fit to allow any person, including the media, to attend or report on its hearing. The bill further provides that this discretion conferred on the Refugees Appeal Authority is exercised with due regard to the relevant factors such as whether the asylum seeker consents to such third-party attendance on access or whether it is the public interest to allow such attendance or reporting after taking into account all relevant factors. In South Africa, the Constitution and the society give media extensive freedoms. In turn, media organizations have a responsibility to use this freedom sensibly and in accordance with the Constitution. Therefore, the policy seeks to balance the freedom of expression, rights enshrined in Section 16 of the Constitution, and the protection of identity and dignity of refugees. To ensure that there is balance in the application of the Constitution, more specifically, where those who are easily marginalized, in order for all people in South Africa feel safe. The Portfolio Committee on the Home Affairs adopted the Refugees Amendment Bill 19 of 2015 on the 4th of August 2015. The technical amendments was referred to the Select Committee on Social Services by the Portfolio Committee of Home Affairs. These technical amendments was initiated by the committee following its request to the National Assembly to initiate legislation as guided by Rule 238(1) of the National Assembly. On the 17th of August 2015, the Select Committee on Social Services received a briefing from Home Affairs, Department of Home Affairs, and Legal Services of Parliament. And the committee is satisfied that it has managed to correct the mistakes and hopes that the respective public members will have access to the hearings on successful application once the two houses have agreed to the bill. The Select Committee deliberated and agreed and adopted the bill on the 17th of August 2015. The Select Committee on Social Services therefore moves for the support and the adoption of the report. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. That concludes the debate. And I shall then now put the question, and the question is that the bill be agreed to. But before we do that, in accordance with Rule 63, I'll first afford political parties an opportunity to make a declaration of the vote, if they so wish. Is there any political party that wishes to make a declaration of vote? EFF? You can do it from there.
Thank you, House Chairperson. Honorable Chair, South Africa has a constitutionally enshrined commitment to the upholding of all human rights. Rights of those who are citizens of those who are in this country as a result of economic and political endeavors. South Africa has for a long time been a home for people from other parts of Southern Africa who came to this country to work, sometimes under extremely difficult conditions, in the white-owned mines and farms. The treatment of particularly African asylum seekers in this country over the past 21 years has been both embarrassing and a betrayal of own Africanness. This has led to the many incidences of Afrophobic attacks by black South Africans on other black African nationals. The Refugees Amendment Bill, which came about as a result of a constitutional court judgment, requiring the Refugee Appeals Authority to allow members of the public and the media to have access to its proceedings, is made to be what it is needed to ease the process of appeals by asylum seekers who need refugee status in the country. It is made to be a necessary mechanism to distinguish between authentic asylum seekers and chancers. But the reality is that this kind of thinking perpetuates the attitude that lead to Afrophobic attacks. It is the thinking that views African immigrants, in particular as people who come to this country only to milk the resources that ought to be benefiting locals, instead of the wealth of human capacity they bring into the country. It is an attitude that it is reserved only for African immigrants. White settlers, who are the real perpetrators of economic crimes in this country, are not subjected to all the suspicion that African immigrants are subjected to. This bill, therefore, is not merely about giving powers to the Refugee Appeals Authority to use its discretion in granting access to its proceeding, to the media and the public. It is essentially about entrenching a system of thinking that is anti-African. It seeks to limit prospective applicants' right to work and create a lot of unnecessary limitations to asylum seekers' access to the refugee system. Therefore, the EFF rejects the bill. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you very much. Is there any other political party that wishes to make a declaration of vote? Is there any political party that wishes to make a declaration of vote? In the absence of any, we shall now proceed with the voting. Let me first ascertain as to the machines are working. Those members who vote in favor, press, against, and those who abstain. And then I'll get the results. Voting will now close. Have we all voted? Who are those who have not voted? Honorable Makue cannot use the machine. His machine is not working. Is it only Honorable Makue? Yeah, it seems like it's only Honorable Makue. Okay, can I get then the results? Honorable Mikalakis, I'm informed that you did not vote. Honorable Mohai, I'm informed that you did not vote. Mohapi. Honorable Niti? Yes. Okay. No, I'm just bringing it to attention to the members whom the machine is not telling us that they voted. Have they voted now? Okay. No, now it's okay. 26 members voted in favor, 1 against. Therefore, the majority of members voted in favor of the report. Therefore, I declare the bill as agreed to in terms of Section 75 of the Constitution. Secretary would read the 5th order of the day.
Consideration of Agreement, South African Bill, Bill 3B of 2015, and report of Select Committee on Economic and Business Development thereon.
Honorable Makue.
Honorable Chairperson, on behalf of the Select Committee on Economic and Business Development, we want to seek your permission that we present both statements at the same time, Chairperson, which is the statement on Agrima South Africa Bill, as well as the International Convention on Standards of Training, Certification, and Watchkeeping for Fishing Vessel Personnel, 1995.
You can, but then when it comes to the voting, we'll then vote for them separately. Yes.
I will facilitate that, Chair, in my
No,
presentation.
I'm the one before.
Sorry. Thank you very much, Chairperson. The Select Committee on Economic and Business Development received and studied the draft bill and convention, and received presentations from the Department of Public Works on the 4th of August 2015, and the Department of Transport on the 23rd of June 2015, respectively. In both instances, we were also assisted by Parliament's legal staff. We are presenting the bill and convention for adoption in this House at a time when advanced and bigger global economic flu affects our economy. The current global and our own economic situation poses a direct threat to the government's policy outcomes. Government recognizes the investment in infrastructure. Government recognizes that investment in infrastructure means economic growth, development, and wealth creation. The Agrima South Africa Bill seeks to establish Agrima South Africa as a juristic person and make the Public Finance Management Act of 1999, as amended, applicable to it. Chairperson, after intensive review of the performance of the board of Agrima South Africa, it was revealed that its lack of legal status, as well as it reporting to 2 ministries, which is Public Works as well as Science and Technology, has negatively impacted on the effective discharge of the mandate of the board. The lack of legal status has also created ongoing audit challenges regarding the classification of the financial transfers made to the board through the Department of Public Works. Due to the board's current lack of legal status, transfers made by the Department of Public Works to Agrima South Africa under transfers and subsidies are being classified by the Auditor General as irregular. So, the passing of the bill into law would enhance corporate governance and financial management of Agrima South Africa. It will further reposition the organization as internationally acknowledged and independent South African center serving the building and engineering communities by providing assurance to specifiers and users through technical approvals of the fitness for purpose of such non-standardized construction-related products and systems. After deliberations in the Select Committee, we all agreed that Agrima South Africa is different to the South African Bureau of Standards. But both organizations play a complementary role in the various industries of the South African economy. In a nutshell, there are no duplication in the work of Agrima South Africa, the South African Bureau of Standards, including the Council for Scientific and Industrial Research. The following are some of the examples of products that initially had Agrima South Africa certificates and for which there are now SABS standard specifications. Hard-drawn copper tubing, solar water heating systems, certain PVC pipes, and acrylic baths. Chairperson, we were also impressed with the broader consultative process that the Department of Public Works has undertaken during the development of the bill. The following stakeholders were consulted: the South African Bureau of Standards, the National Regulator of Compulsory Standards, the Department of Trade and Industry, the Council for Built Environment, the Construction Industry Development Board, the National Home Builders Registration Council, the Department of Human Settlements, the South African Local Government Association, the Department of Cooperative Governments and Traditional Affairs, the Council for Scientific and Industrial Research, the Department of Science and Technology, the Board of Agrima South Africa, the Technology Innovation Agency, the South African Revenue Services, and the National Treasury, amongst others. Chairperson, this convinced us, as members of the Select Committee, that Agrima South Africa is one of the components that would support and promote re-industrialization of the South African economy. Agrima South Africa support and promote the process of integrated socio-economic development in South Africa as it relates to the construction industry by facilitating the introduction, application, and utilization of satisfactory innovation and technology development. In this context, all the Select Committee members agreed for the adoption of the Agrima South Africa Bill and accordingly presented to this House. Chairperson, the International Convention on the Standards of Training, Certification and Watchkeeping for Fishing Vessel Personnel, 1995, also refers to as STCWF 1995, entered into force on the 29th of September 2012. The 1995 STCWF Convention sets the certification and minimum training requirements for crews of sea-going fishing vessels of 24 meters in length and above. The convention consists of 15 articles and an annex containing technical regulations. The STCWF Convention is the first to establish basic requirements on training, certification, and watchkeeping for fishing vessel personnel on an international level. The convention prescribes minimum standards relating to training, certification, and watchkeeping for fishing vessel personnel, which countries are obliged to meet and, where possible, exceed. Presently, it is estimated that more than 24,000 lives are lost worldwide during fishing operations, which is a most deploring record indeed. The International Maritime Organization recognizes the need for a response to the safety crisis in the fishing industry and has a number of instruments addressing the issue. One of these instruments is the International Convention on Standards of Training, Certification, and Watchkeeping for Fishing Vessel Personnel, which was adopted by the IMO in 1995 and is expected to bring considerable benefits and advantages to the fishing industry, i.e., improving the quality of education and training provided to personnel employed on fishing vessels. South Africa intends to become a party to this convention. This convention is the first attempt to establish international mandatory training standards for crew operating fish vessels, and we all hope that it will indeed have the desired impact and effect. The STCWF convention is comparatively short and consists of 15 articles and an annex containing technical regulations in 4 chapters. Chapter 1 contains general provisions. Chapter 2 deals with certification of skippers, office bearers, engineers, and radio operators. Chapter 3 deals with basic safety training for all fishing vessel personnel, and Chapter 4 deals with watchkeeping. Chairperson and members, after the Select Committee interrogated this, we today request this House to approve the ascension to the convention. I thank all members of the Select Committee for their dedication and work that has made this presentation and statement possible. Thank you, Chairperson, for creating this opportunity for us to present the 2 documents to members of the NCOP for adoption and approval.
Thank you very much, Honorable Makue. That concludes both debates. I shall now put the question insofar as the 5th order is concerned. And the question is that the bill be agreed to. But before I do that, in accordance with Rule 63, I shall first allow political parties to make their declaration of vote if they so wish. Is there any political party that wishes to make a declaration of vote? EFF?
Thank you so much, House Chairperson. In our founding manifesto, we indicated right from the beginning, through our cabinet pillar number 3, which calls for the building up of state capacity, that for our country to develop, the state should build internal capacity to construct and maintain infrastructure such as roads, railways, and basic services such as schools, houses, hospitals, dams, and recreational facilities. We would have hoped, therefore, that the ANC would take this opportunity of reforming Agreement South Africa from just being a branch of the Council for Scientific and Industrial Research into being a juristic person, radically transform the race of our construction industry.
Can you just take a seat, Honorable Makue? You are rising on.
Chairperson, I raise on a point of order. The person that is speaking doesn't know what the matters are that we have discussed in the Select Committee. Because, Chair, he refers to the ANC, never have we in the Select Committee referred to the ANC. Secondly, Chairperson, the last point that he just made about the Human Sciences Research Council has been made very clear that it's separate from Agrima South Africa. Therefore, Chair, the Speaker is out of order.
Honorable members, in making a ruling on the matter, it is a political party. In terms of the rules, we allow the political party to make their declaration of vote.
Yes.
Honorable members, order. We are all from political parties. After the members made this or declaration of vote on behalf of his party, nothing stops you from raising your declaration as a political party.
And you call
So
for
may we allow
declarations.
the member on behalf of his party to make a declaration of
So
vote.
they don't have declaration, so let me just continue. This it could have done by ensuring that the bill does not just deal with the need for having Agreement South Africa as an independent agency with its own financial management and accountability structures, but by also expanding its mandate to encompass the need for localized industrialization through support for local innovation of non-standardized construction products. As currently the case, the bill opens up opportunities for certification of non-standardized construction products across the board and does not specify the need for locally produced products. This means that the country can, in the near future, expect a flood on non-standardized construction products from other countries, which would then be certified by Agreement South Africa. This will be a death knell for innovation, research and development in our own country, as was the case with textile industry, which died as soon as we opened our borders for cheap imports from China. The cement industry is already in trouble. Countries such as Vietnam and Pakistan already have 7% share of the country's cement requirements, if you did not know. And they have been accused of dumping substandard cement in our own shores. If Agreement South Africa is then mandated to even certify products from countries such as these, there will be serious implications for small players in the construction products manufacturing sector in this country. The EFF therefore submits that Agreement South Africa has the potential to be transformed into a developmental agency focused primarily on building up the capacity of our own innovations in the construction industry. With a strong government intervention and support, and unequivocal protection of our construction manufacturing sector, we can be in a position to produce many of the products needed for our construction needs. Agreement South Africa, therefore, should not be limited to just being a certification body for products, most of which will be originating from outside the country. It must be used as a vehicle for inward-looking development and industrialization. This can be supported in the long term by creating a state-owned construction company
Honorable Member, your time has
to
expired.
ensure that locally based construction.
Honorable members, is there any other political party that wishes to make a declaration of vote? Honorable Makue.
Chairperson, the African National Congress compels us as its members to be present in meetings of select committees so that we don't have to come on stage for the camera in sittings of the NCOP, but to deal with our matters through proper debates in the NCOP. Chairperson, the African National Congress has also looked very carefully at the industrialization and re-industrialization requirements of South Africa. And we recognize that we operate within a global context where no country can ignore the importance of protecting its citizens. The construction industry is an industry that all over the world result in the deaths of innocent people, both within the industry, but also people who occupy structures built by the industry. But with that, Chair, we also know the importance of ensuring that when products are used in whatever sphere of the industry, it is important that those products should be tested properly and conform to a quality that qualifies on the fitness for purpose principle. Therefore, the ANC very strongly urges the House to support the findings of the Select Committee. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Is there any other political party? In the absence of any, we shall then proceed with the voting. We will then proceed with the voting insofar as we did earlier on by pressing the buttons that is necessary. Those in favor, those against, and those who abstain. Voting is open. Have all members voted? I shall then request to be provided with results. Voting is closed. The results are as follows: 27 members voted in favor, 1 against, and no abstention. Therefore, I declare the bill as agreed to in terms of Section 675 of the Constitution. That then brings us to the sixth order of the day. And I shall put the question, and the question is that the bill, the report, be agreed to. That is the sixth order now. The report be agreed to. In accordance with Rule 71, this time around, in accordance with Rule 71, I shall allow provinces an opportunity to make a declaration of vote, if they so wish, not political parties. Is there any province that wishes to make a declaration of vote in terms of the sixth order? In the absence of any, we shall then proceed with the voting. Eastern Cape?
Eastern Cape sub.
Free State?
Says support Slal.
Gauteng?
Gauteng support.
KwaZulu-Natal?
KwaZulu-Natal, yayisekela Slal.
Limpopo?
Limpopo le athega modulasetulo.
Mpumalanga?
Mpumalanga agrees.
Northern Cape?
Northern Cape support.
Northwest?
Province ya Bokoni Bophirima ya dumela.
Western Cape?
The Western Cape support.
All 9 provinces voted in favor. I therefore declared the report as agreed to in terms of Section 65 of the Constitution. Honorable members, I wish to, before we get to the last item, you'd remember that in one house sitting of the 27th August 2015, I committed to come back to the House with a ruling on a matter that was said at the podium. And it was during the time when we were debating the local government week under the theme, building a capable and developmental state, entrenching cooperative governance for people-centered development, which then took place on the 27th of August 2015. Honorable members, during the debate on the outcomes of the local government week, Honorable Mokhosi made a remark which I felt was a bit derogatory, and I undertook to check Hansard, therefore. Having consulted Hansard transcript, it recorded Honorable Mokhosi as saying the following in Setswana: Lo tlogele go naya basadi ditiro ka penti. Translated into English means, stop awarding work to women in exchange for sexual favors. Honorable members, the central objective of the debate is to deliberate and solicit views on the subject matter in question. In realizing this objective, honorable members should be at liberty to express their views as permitted by the Constitution, in a manner they feel comfortable and not to be confined, as that has got a potential of stifling debate. However, in exercising that right, of their right to freedom of expression, members should be cautious of the limitation clause as enshrined in the Constitution and the rules of the National Council of Provinces. One of these rules is Rule 46, which cautions members against the use of offensive or unbecoming language towards other members, commonly known as unparliamentary language. The rule is broadly framed to allow the presiding officer to take into consideration, amongst other things, the context and tone of a particular remark or reference. The rule has been elucidated by years of established practice and convention. However, one established practice also dictates that any statement or remark that impairs a member's dignity, affronts a member's honor, must place or curb on freedom of speech. Must curb a freedom of speech. I therefore appeal to honorable members to moderate their language and refrain from uttering disparaging remarks which could potentially degenerate the House proceedings into chaos. Let's always uphold the standing of this august House. I therefore, unfortunately, present this ruling as a precedent because ordinarily I would have requested Honorable Mokhosi to withdraw that remark. But because of her absence and not having any guarantee when she will be in the House, I thought it is necessary that I present this ruling, precisely because of the remark was even made during August month, which is a Women's Month, and the extent to which it tends to undermine the capacity of South African women and how they have been treated in the workplaces and so forth. Therefore, I present this ruling by this House. Honorable members, that concludes the business of the day and the House is adjourned.